And he is being challenged by Vincenzo Orofino, who is an established player by now. We have heard from him for the first time in the remote duel tournaments, and he was really successful.
I mean, he made his name there because he won one of the invitationals, if I remember correctly. Definitely an accomplished player, and definitely the Italians are showing up this tournament. We have Marco also being in the semifinals alongside Vincenzo. So 2 Italians, and then 1 German, Joshua, and 1 Greek player with Eriko's back. And as we said, Joshua starting things off here with Shiren effect, and he's trying to resolve half this engrave, but there's Druid's Bomb instantly by Vincenzo, and his list is actually packed with Bestials. He's not just running a small package, he's running triple Druid's Bomb, triple Magnamut, and triple Saronir, so his chances of seeing Bestials are very high.
So it is really good for Vincenzo that he has probably dodged a lot of Luandere's plays. This matchup would be unfavorable. And Joshua is milling 2 more Mudoras. He doesn't need that many Mudoras. And the one Tearlament name he hit was Havnis, and that is one that was already activated this turn.
Yeah.
So no more fusion summons by now. But
there's instant
fusion is being activated. The Germans in these featured matches always seem to have instant fusion.
Indeed, 1,000 life points for Kid Colors is a pretty decent trade, and I think Joshua will take it.
Of the week, yeah.
Yep, there we have it. There is the Kid Colors. But I mean, he's running 9 Bestials, speaking of Vincenzo. So there's a pretty good chance he just has another one, and whatever Kid Colors might be sending here might get hit by that. On the other hand, he could also just search for something like Salik to go for the defensive route maybe. But we are about to see Joshua is one more time going for his graveyard, and he's also holding his hands, holding his deck in his hands. So we are going to see which effect of Kid Carlos he's going to use. Is he going to center the graveyard, or is he going to search? And he's searching.
He's searching for Tearlament Scream, and this might signal that he has Primeval Planet Pearlerino.
Indeed, there's a neat combo where you pop your own Scream to then get another trap card to your hand. I like that a lot, because he could have just searched for a trap card here, but if he has Pearlerino, he can just go the other way around, and he will get to a trap card anyways.
So Kid Colors is activated, and Havnis is special summoned from the GY. We have milled this earlier with a Merly, I think. So
okay, there's 1 Pearlerino. Oh, we hit Kelbeck, but I don't think we're using it here.
But we also hit the Shiren, and Shiren and Merly are not activated in this game already. So I think that he can actually use both of them, because there are no shufflers in the GY of Vincenzo.
Nope, there's basically nothing in the graveyard of Vincenzo. So absolutely no reason also for Joshua to actually start milling here for both players, because that just makes Vincenzo start his plays, but he has another Magnamut. As I was saying, he's really relying on those Bestials. And Joshua now, having so many Mudoras, has to respond here. He doesn't want that Magnamut to hit the field.
Yeah.
And it will stay in hand because Joshua is just chaining right there.
Yeah, you don't want to give your opponent the Magnamut on the field, because Magnamut replaces itself in the end phase, and that would just mean a +1 for Vincenzo. Also, you don't want half of your deck banished already. So if you're having 3 Mudora in your GY, I guess it is safe to say that you can use 1 here.
Yep, absolutely. That is definitely not a waste. And carefully both players keep on noticing on the sheet of paper there what kind of effects they have already used. Definitely in this mirror match, quite important, because you don't want to miss out on anything. You don't want to use any effects twice. Oh, and look!
We are chain blocking the Sprite Sprint with Scream, so we can, or we are not chain blocking it.
Maybe he went for chain link 2 Sprite Sprint.
That's what it looked like. So we are sending the Merly, of course. This is the last name that he has not activated yet. Let's see if Vincenzo has a Saronir as well.
We are about to see.
Oh, Salik milled, and 1 more monster card, which I think might be a Bestial.
Let's see. Joshua still is not done here.
Oh, and Vincenzo is tippy-tapping on the board. He is considering if he has something that he can activate here. And is this actually Saronir? Is this Saronir? No, it's Kelbeck!
Oh, it is the Kelbeck! So Vincenzo going second, really starting with a very interactive hand in the opponent's turn. He has the double Bestial plus Kelbeck as interruptions for his opponent. Really strong stuff here for him. Giving that Shiren back to the hand, robbing Joshua of one of the level 4 bodies he could potentially turn into a Dweller.
Exactly. Usually you would think you want to bounce the Link monster because it goes into the extra deck and isn't another resource in hand of Joshua, but you really want to deny him the Abyss Dweller, which is so important in the mirror match.
That's true. Vincenzo, of course, knows what he's doing here, being in top 4. They have played mirror matches all day long, so they are definitely experts in that by now.
And still there is a Merly, and Merly now does not want to go for a Mud Dragon here. He can just safely go into the Roll Colors, which is a interruption on the opponent's turn.
Yep.
And I think he should still resolve Salik, right? So he can get a Halfness, or did he already fetch one?
Did he? Oh yeah, he did know the Salik, you're right. There is the Salik in the graveyard, but apparently he did not trigger it. So...
Or he already searched one. I mean, we can't really see the entire picture there.
Yeah, you're right. Might absolutely be true. But it's an interesting decision by Vincenzo that he went for the Druid's Womb first and then for the Magnamoot after, because quite frankly, resolving the Magnamoot on board probably is more important. And he just decided to go the other way around with it and went for the Druid's Womb first. But I mean, having Druid's Womb on the field on the other end is also pretty insane, because this can give you the chance to trigger its graveyard effect. Therefore, it's both options are decent, I would say.
And I'm still interested as to why Joshua went for the Tearlaments Scream Search with Kid Colors, because so far this card has not done too much.
Yeah, you're right. You were thinking that he might have Pearl Rhino, but by now I would be pretty safe in saying that he does not have Pearl Rhino. Maybe he thinks in the mirror match Scream is just too good, because it will also give you a save mill on your opponent's turn when he's summoning monsters. So you don't really need to rely on hitting with Halfness or something, because you can just resolve a Scream and mill cards anyways.
So Vincenzo appears to have drawn a card already, because he is on 4 cards in hand with Kalbeck and Ruiz. That makes 6, and now we are in his main phase 1. He normal summons Mudora, which is an odd play, and this opens up Joshua to activate Tearlaments Scream.
But he doesn't do it, and now Vincenzo, maybe before doing any other play, starts his turn off with an Abyss Dweller. That is what is happening, and that could shut down all the interruptions that Joshua potentially has in the graveyard. We know that he has multiple Mudoras, and those might just get shut down. But yeah, Joshua is pointing towards the Scream, and yes, he wants to mill 3 cards on the summon of Dweller, and he hits Agido.
And none of those will be able to activate, because Dweller will resolve before they have the option to activate in a new chain.
Yeah, of course. It's also a quick effect, so just unsummon the Dweller being chain link number 1. And look, Vincenzo just going for battle phase, running over the Sprite Sprint with the Abyss Dweller. Wait, he actually crashed it. He forgot about the Scream. He crashed his Dweller into the Sprite Sprint, forgetting about the attack loss because of Tearlaments Scream. This can't be real.
Vincenzo, no, you just gave away the Abyss Dweller. This is huge for Joshua.
You gave away one of the most important resources in the mirror match. It's insane. You always want to have Abyss Dweller on the board, and you just gifted it to your opponent by running into the Sprite Sprint. This can't be made up. Joshua Smith, by his pure appearance there at the Future Match table.
Yes, I was going to say that. Is this the famous Joshua Schmidt aura, where your opponent is just intimidated by you sitting down?
That must be the case. And I mean, now we understand why he searched for Tearlaments Scream, right? Because he totally has foreseen that. That was absolutely the case. Joshua Schmidt has perfect information and has foreseen all of that. So, absolutely marvelous by him to go for the Scream there.
So Pearl Rhino is now going to search. I mean, Vincenzo still is in a pretty decent spot, right? He gave away his Abyss Dweller, which is a valuable resource. However, this turn, the Abyss Dweller is still active.
It is. And he now, contrarian to Joshua, has Pearl Rhino on board. And we are activating Chiron. There's not really anything that could stop that there from Joshua. So, I mean, okay, he could have actually chained the Roll Colors to negate that, but he decided not to.
Wow, Scream and another Rhino. No, Chiron and Scream. Wow.
And the Rhino art was discarded, right? So there's definitely plenty of stuff. Joshua, on a smaller Bestial package, but still packing in triple Druid's Womb and triple Magnamoot, so the potential on his side for Bestials is also quite big.
So now we are seeing not a window for Mudora and Agido, Mudora and Caldo, because Dweller is still active. You know? So this is actually going to be a big fusion party for Vincenzo, and he was able to chain block the Shiren if he even activated it. I did not see that.
Yep, we're searching for the Sully.
He can pop the Roll Colors, and it won't be able to summon itself back.
That could be the case here. Yep, we are indeed using the Shiren as well, and that is going to bring out the good old Kid Colors, and as you say, he's starting a fusion party, and also he has Mudora in graveyard already, so he could basically shuffle back all the shufflers in Joshua's graveyard, and he would have no winner to respond to that because of that Abyss Dweller that resolved early on. Luckily, he activated before attacking, right?
True.
Imagine he would have just crashed into it. That would have been crazy,
that sounds
crazy.
Painful, but why did he even go into battle phase this early?
Good question.
This is what I keep thinking of the entire time, because I don't think there was a reason for it, because he couldn't beat over Vulcolos anyways. He had the Dweller active.
Very good question indeed.
Beat over, I mean, there was a lot of potential to OTK this turn.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. But he rather just got his Dweller under the wheels of that Sprite Sprint. And yep, but he's still going. And I mean, to be fair, Joshua doesn't have a whole lot of cards in his hand, so his comeback potential isn't that great here. So even though, as you were already saying, he gave away his Abyss Dweller, I think chances for Vincenzo are quite decent in this game still.
Yeah, I mean, he searched for more follow-up. This turn he will put up a big board, and he also has the Magnemute in hand. Can we check the extra deck of Vincenzo Orofino to see which rank 6 exceeds he's running? He's running both, and he is running Time Thief Reduo.
He has found a lot of space in his extra deck.
Wow. And he is running Dragostapelia. I wonder what he cut.
That's a good question, but let's focus on what's happening here. We had the big milling play. We had the mill 8. We milled a bunch of... Oh, we milled a bunch of actual Bestials, and now he can freely activate the effect of Kelbeck as well, because all the stuff that Joshua is milling here is not going to be crazily important, because Abyss Dweller is still applying here.
And he also has not used any of his shufflers, so the more shufflers he gets, the better his position will be, because at the end of the turn he can just say, okay, affect Keldo or Mudora and shuffle back all of your graveyard interactions and pass turn, basically. I mean, you will ideally summon more monsters.
But that's such a fortune here for Vincenzo that Abyss Dweller resolved, so all the resources in Joshua's graveyard aren't able to use their effects. And I can totally understand why everybody is summoning Abyss Dweller and is just trying everything in their first turn. Even if it is the only monster left on the end board, they really wanted to beat the Abyss Dweller, and yeah, it's showing why that's so important here in this match already.
Oh, and now we are also getting rid of the Tearlaments Scream with the Kaleido Heart. Vincenzo is really clearing this entire board.
Yep. We are also recycling the Kid Colors back to the extra deck. That's also really good.
And now we are questioning...
Did we even shuffle in between?
Already, yes, apparently we did.
And there comes the Kaleido Heart.
Yeah, and this one is going to get rid of the Sharon, I'm pretty sure of that. How many cards does Joshua actually have in his hand? Because we haven't seen those at all in this turn, and I think he has a Harvest. And I also wonder why he did not activate Tearlaments Scream on the Mudora normal summon, because that looked like the perfect timing to do so. Like, maybe you can get a Dragostapelia on board as well.
Yeah, absolutely so. Because when your opponent is already summoning the Dweller, as we saw, he can activate on the Summoner of Dweller the quick effect, and so everything you would mill with Scream would not be very helpful anymore. So we now have the Kaleido Heart on board.
And no card on board for Joshua Schmidt anymore. Turns out opening double Bestial plus Kelbeck is really good in the mirror match.
And you know what? Mudora is probably going to put back the Dweller to the extra deck, so he lost the Dweller, but he's probably going to get it back anyways here, because he could easily recycle it there, and he now would have 2 level 4 monsters back on the board. So the mistake of running into the Sprite Sprint might actually not even be important at all, because look, right there, he is taking his Abyss Dweller back to the extra deck.
It was all planned from the start. He just wanted to give Joshua the illusion that he was ahead, that he was basically throwing this game, but nope, Vincenzo doesn't. He still ends up on Dweller.
Yeah, it's just a showcase of extra class.
Exactly.
He just took an extra step to show everybody how competent he is, how comfortable he feels in this game, even though he just gave away one body. Yeah, now there's the Mud Dragon of the Swarm, and there's Shiren, meaning we have access to Dweller already.
And I mean, not only that he takes away all the resources in Joshua's graveyard, those are bad draws if you're in a disadvantageous position.
That is absolutely true. By the way, shall I tell you something really interesting about the list of Joshua Schmidt?
Always, please.
I can tell you why he didn't set up Scream in the first turn at all. Oh no, why he didn't set up Crime in the first turn at all.
Crime.
He's only siding one copy of Tearlaments Crime. He's not even playing in the main deck. And I think I haven't seen a single Tearlaments list all weekend long that didn't main deck Tearlaments Crime. Really interesting.
I mean, in this position, it looks like it was a big mistake to not bring Crime. But, I mean, it has worked for him so far.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. So, he's going for the Abyss Dweller again, of course.
Habitante dell'Abisso.
Yep, and Joshua faces quite a lot here. There's still Kaleido Heart on board. We know there's still Magna Mood in hand. There's Abyss Dweller on board now. Are we also going into Sprite Elf here maybe to have access for a reborn of our Merly in our opponent's turn?
No, we are going for the Magna Mood, and we want to set up either Beatrice or Wallow. Those are we're also getting rid of a Merle, which is also a valuable resource. Now Magna Mood is going to replace itself in the end phase, and we are going to Exceed Summon again. I love it when decks can do everything.
And there he is again, one of our favorite cards, maybe the best card from Darkwing Blast. Wallow, founder of the Drudge Dragons, being summoned here, and it's capable of actually just using one of his opponent's cards. But for now, he just wants it as another interruption, because as we know, it is a quick effect to just shuffle back one card from your opponent's graveyard as well. So basically an extra Bystial, and by resolving the on-field effect of Bystial, Magna Mood, we're also going to replace that for another Bystial in the end phase. Yep. Is he giving away the information that he's running Sauron here? No, he's not. He's still only going with the Jury's War.
I love Wallow because you can set up so many cool plays with special summoning monsters from your opponent's graveyard, or setting cool cards like Triple Tactic Talents and immediately activating them, but nobody seems to do it.
Yep, and in the draw phase, we are resolving Abyss Dweller, and that is successfully resolving, and the crowd is loving it. Crowd is cheering Vincenzo Rufino on here.
And Joshua packs up his cards. This game one goes to Vincenzo Rufino, and the Italians in the crowd are cheering.
Yep, I said it earlier, maybe this now is the time for Team Italy, for the Italian Yu-Gi-Oh! Community to fight back, because it was the UK winning the European Championship. Then we had Joshua Schmidt from Germany taking it in Utrecht, and we now have 2 Italians left in competition here at YCS Dortmund. And it would be bittersweet, because it is our home turf YCS for the German community, and then taking it by an Italian would be quite hard. But I mean, the community is strong, they are playing very good, so I would definitely, it would be a deserved win for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Also, I'm kind of sad. I mean, I was banking on one Italian to win the event. I wanted Mikotzi to win it with the Draco Slayer Pendulum deck. However, he was eliminated in the top 16 against Fluwanderies, of which we thought it was a good matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. But still, that Fluwanderies player is still going strong in the tournament. He's in the top 4
currently. He also won the last featured match versus Ishizu Tearlaments, and I can already tell you he's going to face a lot more Ishizu Tearlaments if he continues to win this, because he is actually the only Fluwanderies player with 7-tier Shizu decks.
Yeah. So now, going first for Joshua Schmidt, we just talked about it. There's Tearlaments Crime in his side deck. Do you think that is coming in now? Because he must certainly always bring this in when he's going first, right? There's no other chance.
I think so.
Yeah. Then also, of course, Called by the Grave, pretty easy contestant to come in going first as well. All right.
Even though I like this card a bit more going second, because like the hand interaction of his opponents are monsters that are not discarded to the GY. It's Bystials, they're activating in hand, and then you have one more card in your hand that you can't play with.
The thing though is, when you go second, your opponent already has set up some shufflers, and that could always dodge the Called by the Grave. Therefore, I'm not totally in love with it. But let's see what else is there to come. We see Triple Tactics Talent coming in for Joshua Schmidt.
Yes.
Most likely is going to come in, I'm pretty sure. And now For the going second options, on Vincenzo's side, there might be Ghost Bell coming in. He's not making any Herald of the Orange Light, so those might very well come in as well. And then also Triple Tactics Talents on his side. And we see that the players are ready for this game number 2. So let's not have them wait any longer. Let's go into game number 2 of our top 4 match.
Game 2 of the semifinals starting. The crowd is absolutely massive in this room here. We are ready to see this battle. The players are going to get the okay. Another fist bump. Vincenzo dominating game 1 with Magnamut, with Druisworm, and with Kelbeck. And good follow-up in form of Terraforming and even more cards. So now we have Terraforming on Joshua's side, and this is already much better than the last start.
This time he does have the Terraforming for the Pearl Rhino. So looks like he might be getting off to a real good start. But again, if Vincenzo has a hand packed full out of bestial monsters, it will be still a hard time for Joshua.
Absolutely, all the bestial cards are really strong, but we might actually also see Triple Tactic Talents in the hand of Joshua Schmidt, and this would be a almost blowout for Vincenzo if he has Triple Tactic Talents plus follow-up.
Yep, Shiren is using its effect, discarding Caldo, and we're hitting Havness
Merly, and another Havness. So the thing is, do you now activate all of these effects? Do you activate Merly and Havness?
I think Merly usually has the effect you don't want to use very early because you have the chance to send it later on in the combo with Sprint.
Obviously, if you only use one of those, then you will activate Havness, but there is a good chance. Oh, there was a thumbs up from Vincenzo. Joshua is actually allowed to resolve those, and I think we are very likely to see a Kid Colors plus Garura on board.
That is maybe what is happening here.
Actual fusion summons, what is this?
Yep, game 1 that wasn't really possible for Joshua, but now Vincenzo nods his head, allows him to do what he wants. There is Garura and Kid Colors as you were thinking. And Kid Colors now, of course, activating its effect. Vincenzo checking his hand.
Having in Vincenzo's hand, there he is activating the Havness, so there is another hand interaction as to be expected. We're making Druisworm, we're making Ghost Bell, and we're making Pelorino. It is not a hit from the Havness.
This is not helping him at all. We see that he's also one of the players that runs Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion.
A popular card for sure.
Yep, it has risen in popularity a bit lately, but he's not bringing it in the main deck, he's only running it in a side deck, but 3 copies of it, so he definitely values it quite a bit.
So now we are cutting the deck again. I have not quite seen what Joshua has added to itself. Was it Scream again? I mean, this time he has Pelorino, so he could actually pop the Scream to search for a Crime or Salik. Now Rhinoheart is normal summoned, and we only have one more name left.
Normal summon Rhinoheart. And we will go with chaining 1 Scream, chaining 2 Rhinoheart. Look, he really values his Scream a lot more than the other effects. He's never chain blocking the monster effects. He rather wants to chain block the Scream, actually. He always wants the Scream to resolve.
He is really trying to hit the Mudora here.
And he is getting the
and
Mudora.
And the Salik as well. I hope for him that he has a Crime in his deck. And Saronir is
there is the
now.
Saronir now for Vincenzo, hitting the Shiren.
Well played.
Joshua Milt.
Really well played by Vincenzo by announcing Merly and Havness. Joshua basically said, if you have a Bestial, that's okay with me. I will summon my Kid Colors, but now we are going to see. Okay, so this is interesting. Joshua actually decided to use Caldo to shuffle back Salik and Shiren, and of course also the Druisworm of his opponent. But that means that the Saronir stays in hand. Of course, you don't give your opponent the body.
Yeah.
However, he will have Saronir in hand for the next turn.
That is absolutely true. And Saronir as a body on board, it's the weakest of the Bestials, because Magnamut on the field very obviously gives you another Bestial in the end phase. Druisworm is dangerous because if you send it to the graveyard in any way, it will trigger and pop a card on your side of the field. But Saronir doesn't really do anything.
And now we are seeing a new chain link, maybe starting with Primeval Planet Pelorino to pop the Tearlaments Scream. He just shuffled back the Salik and he's pointing to the Scream?
Yeah, that must be. It's the target of Pelorino. Can't imagine in any other way because he already used the mill effect of Scream, and we are popping our own Scream to search for either Salik or the Crime that he probably has sided in here.
By the way, there is no target for Dark in the graveyard of Vincenzo. So what do you do with this board here? I mean, we have now I mean, okay, you also have the Kid Colors effect from the field now. Kind of forgot about that.
Yeah,
Not
absolutely. Yeah, we can still just go for a lot more mills here with Kid Colors, first of all.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, we can just look what else is there. And if he gets away into Merly with the Kid Colors, then you have a level 2 body, and I think we're just going to see a Sprite Elf play, most likely.
I mean, we are probably going to see a Dweller if the Kid Colors resolves to summon back the Shiren.
That is also a good way, yeah, for sure.
Dweller, a decent card this format.
So, we are announcing Kid Colors here.
Not
And
really too much you want to mill. You want to hit another Caldo, because you don't have yours in your graveyard anymore.
Yep, you don't look forward to milling Agidos or Kelbacks, because I don't think we can afford ourselves to mill more cards here for our opponent. And there, there is Mudora and Caldo. There we go. That's a good mill for Joshua. He gets both shufflers as he wanted to.
Vincenzo asked Joshua, Kelbeck effect, and Joshua was just smiling. Nope, I'm not going to use this one now.
Such a fun atmosphere here in the top 4 of YCS Dortmund, biggest YCS championship we've ever had here in Europe. Oh, he's actually using his own Magnamoot now on Magnamoot in the graveyard.
And it just makes sense. He can set up a Wallow or a Beatrice, whatever he runs. With the Garura, detaching will give him a draw, and he gets rid of his own Magnamoot in the grave, so his opponent cannot access it via Dark in the next turn.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, he also is on both Beatrice and Wallow.
The cards are just too good.
Absolutely, and there it is. It is the Beatrice. We're ending on a rank 4 and a rank 6 here, and that's a pretty good combination because the rank 4, the Abyss Dweller, disables your opponent from playing, and the other, Beatrice, enables you to play on your opponent's turn.
Plus, you get a draw.
Yep, that's also kind of nice.
So this Harness on the field is looking kind of sad, not going to lie. Trying to help Vincenzo overcome Joshua's powerful first turn, but not being helpful at all.
So, Vincenzo draws for turn. It looked like a trap to me, which wouldn't be too powerful going second. But let's see. What can he bring? What does he have?
So we know that Joshua has the Salik, right?
Yep, that should be Salik set. And he also searched with Magnamoot, so there's also a known Bestial in the hand of Joshua. Look, we resolved the Abyss Dweller, and we instantly after also want to resolve the Beatrice. I'm quite sure we want to make sure to get Tearlaments' body onto the board here, so our Salik is live. So we just want to really quickly go into the Rhino Heart Sand and trigger it in the graveyard.
Immediately going into Rhino Heart, the big commitment, as I like to call it, because if you just send one of the Dark Tearlaments, then you will get one Fusion Summon, but Rhino Heart most of the time actually gives you 2 Fusion Summons already.
And I mean, the good thing with Rhino Heart is it doesn't lose to 1 Bestial, and I think that's just the safer route. You're calling it the big commitment, I'm calling it the safe route, to be honest.
Fair enough. So Merly is going to get banished by Saronir. I think that Joshua is going to let this one slide.
Yep, that's how it is. Saronir hitting the board. Both players knew about that Saronir because it tried to summon itself to the field last turn, but it was denied by Joshua.
And we have the Harness here. So how is this going to play out? Do we see a Magnamoot or a Druid's Womb from the hand of Vincenzo? No, he's actually just going to go for the Harness, and this might actually result in a pop already with the...
Or he could also go for
He's
but
scooping.
no!
17 minutes for game 3 now. Vincenzo versus Joshua.
This is the deal for game number 2. Joshua Schmidt equalizes it. It is now 1-1 between him and Vincenzo Orofino, and we are going to see a dramatic game number 3 between those two really strong players.
Joshua being able to start both times. Let's see if this is going to change something in game 3, because Vincenzo will be able to open the game for the first time. In the first game, he had 1 Bestial, then he had a second one, and then he had the Kelbeck as well. That stopped Joshua from doing basically anything. There you have seen our lovely crowd. These guys are being amazing all the time, by the way.
For sure.
In game 2, Vincenzo just had a Harness, and it didn't do anything.
It wasn't enough. And I kind of can see something happen here for Vincenzo. He's running such a big package of Bestials. Do you think he's going to side out any going first? Because if he's not, he might actually clock a little bit on them. Because if you have so many Bestials, your actual gameplay does get stopped a little bit
I
because
know.
there's so many level 6 monsters you can do nothing with normally.
It depends on what he sides in. He might go for triple tactic talents.
Yeah,
He might
sure.
want to keep actually the ghost spell in instead of one of the Bystials because you can protect yourself from your opponent's Bystials.
Sure.
And I think there is some space for it. And he's also siding Herald of the Orange Light, and I think that this is for rogue matchups.
I do believe so
This
as
is
well.
to counter Shifter.
Yeah, I don't think this is coming in, especially not going first here versus Joshua Schmidt in the mirror match in the semi-finals of this tournament. Don't believe that is going to help him at all here.
Nope.
And I also don't think he's bringing in triple copies of Zombie World, to be honest. That's just not the matchup you want to have it for.
It can help, but you don't really want to play it.
It is for the Flu. He wants to face Flu in the finals.
Yeah.
Maybe that is what's going to happen. Maybe we're going to have an all-Italian finals Flu versus the good old Ishizu tier deck. That is probably something that could very well happen. Also something that
Good
could
old Ishizu
very
tier.
well happen is that we're going to start this game number 3 because players are shuffled up, and we can say for the last time for us that we're going to go into a game number 3. Let's go for the third game of top 4 right now.
Give it up, guys.
There we have them drawing their opening hands, and Vincenzo praying that it has to be a good one. I like that they're
We are
changing
seeing
up.
triple tactic talents already, and this is 50% a good sign, 50% a bad sign. I mean 80% a good sign. And it is a good sign because he also has the Rhino Heart, and he can actually pop off now. And if Joshua
but
activates
instant
anything,
halfness. Instant
we see
halfness
a good
by
move. Caldo
Joshua.
is strong. Caldo and Mudora are decent. It's not what you want to have, but it is okay. And Vincenzo can now generate a big advantage with the triple tactic talents. Looking at the opponent's hand, if he is able to play through Mudora and Caldo.
That is absolutely true. So let's see what he's sending here. This effect is probably not going to resolve, as there are
I am really
Mudora
sure.
and Caldo on the side of Joshua.
So we are... Which one is he going to activate, Caldo or Mudora? Is he just going to take the top one? Quick.
I think it doesn't really matter. I think he would go for Mudora, but it really does the same, as we all know. But rather the interesting question is he going to shuffle back anything else? Is he going to shuffle back his own Druid Swarm there or not?
I don't think Druid Swarm is necessary to be shuffled back.
I don't believe so either. So let's see. That talent is going to be good, but what else is he going to do? So far he hasn't activated the Huffness even.
Yeah, Vincenzo, I like what he's...
Oh, he did not activate the Huffness at all. Just not using the Huffness, now
He wants to
using
go
the effect
for
of
Dweller
Mudora.
first.
Oh, very heads-up play by Vincenzo. He wants to deny Joshua the access to his shufflers.
Now he would be able to activate Gravedigger's Trap with Mudora the Sword Oracle. However, this is not a card he's running in his main deck.
Yeah, not Gravediggers, but Gravekeeper's Trap, of course.
Switching those up.
No worries, no worries. But really good. You can see that Vincenzo has tested this matchup a bunch. If you just summon Dweller first of all and put your opponent on Dweller, you can just... Yeah, you're just good. Your opponent cannot use any of his shufflers, and you can then that at some point just shuffle it back with your own shufflers.
Okay, so now another interesting move. He is actually using Caldo immediately on the discard of Calbeck, so it could not even trigger at all.
That's true.
Even if Vincenzo wanted to, and this means that Joshua thinks that maybe Vincenzo does not really have place to go into. And I think at this point, you have to go for a play like this, because if he has an amazing hand, then you're going to have the shorter end of the stick anyway.
True, true. And you know what? He did shuffle back the Druid Swarm, but first of all, he's going to use the talents, and his talent's going to be used to draw 2 cards. It is indeed. We are drawing for Huffness and Druid Swarm, if I saw correctly.
And those are not the 2 cards you want to see. You can easily go for a Dweller here, of course, all the time. This is going to at least buy you 1 turn if your opponent does not have a huge answer to it. And you have the Huffness, which is also a really strong card.
Yep. I think he heard your words. I think he will be going for the Abyss Dweller right there. Having a quick double check with his cards in hand.
This is still not the board you want to go for.
Not really. It's not the greatest. It didn't look too great that Joshua only milled the shufflers and no Tearlament names, but the shufflers really did enough here.
So we are considering to go for a Time Thief Redoer.
He's not even willing to go into the Dweller here. But I think you have to go for Dweller because Redoer doesn't seem like it's enough. I feel like Dweller just gives you more of an edge here in the mirror match. But let's see what he decides on.
Vincenzo might think with his 3 cards in hand that this is the only card that can make him play. I mean, he can use it immediately on the Rhino Heart and then activate the Rhino Heart in the graveyard.
Oh yes, he is going for it.
But
true.
There is still Mudora in the graveyard.
That's true. Mudora could just answer that. Maybe Vincenzo just forgot about the Mudora. But let's see. He is detaching the Rhino Heart indeed.
Keep in mind, there was no Dweller resolved this turn. Mudora is still a massive threat, and now he will activate the Rhino Heart. Joshua can consider to shuffle this one back already because it would be a level 4 body on board, and he will target the Mudora as well. So he's just going to take all of the cards and shuffle them into the deck. He does not even care about it. Just take all of them.
Yep, you have 3 cards in the graveyard. Take them all and put them back into your deck.
No
and
graveyards.
Now Vincenzo
No graveyards.
only has Hafnis in hand, right?
And he passes
He
on the
passes
Redoer.
on
Do you
just
want
a
to
Redoer.
attach now? Joshua Schmidt is not even going to be Dwellered, and Redoer attaches something, and it is a Calbeck. This is not the worst that could have happened to him.
But still, it's only a Redoer. That's the only thing Joshua Schmidt has to face here in game number 3 of this.
And there will, of course, be also Bestials. I think that Rhino Heart is... Wow, another Mudora mill. Rhino Heart was discarded for Shiren. Shiren did not hit any Tearlaments names. Maybe Joshua does not have anything to discard for the Rhino Heart. But then I'm wondering... No, of course he has something to discard for the Rhino Heart. This cannot be Bestial, guys. Keep in mind, Rhino Heart is a water monster, but he only also has a water monster to discard it. And Hafnis is being chained to this.
Let's see. What is he hitting with Hafnis? Really important here for Vincenzo.
Mudora, and another Mudora.
A double Mudora.
It is only a Mudora. And now Joshua is absolutely in the driver's seat. There are no further interruptions for Vincenzo. Maybe a Bestial.
Yep, only the Mudora he can use only once and then the Bestial. I think we saw a Bestial in his hand, but still that is maybe not enough here for Joshua.
I mean, he has to have something, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he has a Bestie. He drew his one for turn, I'm pretty sure. With the talent, I mean. So, what is going to be the play here for Joshua Schmidt? Could you see? Oh, he milled the Hafnis first of all with the Rhino Heart. Okay.
So Hafnis will most likely be activated and Mudora can be chained. However, Joshua, if he has enough cards in hand to actually play on after not activating this, Calbeck is activated.
But there's Calbeck first of all.
And this is most likely going to banish the Rhino Heart.
That is certainly what's going to happen. There was a card hitting the graveyard, and now that also gives him the chance to use his Mudora. He chains the Mudora to Calbeck, of course trying to shuffle back the Hafnis, so no fusion summoning happening for Joshua yet, I would say, because there's still some chance for him.
Oh, and there is
Herald
Mudora
of the Orange Light.
Herald. Wow, and this actually ensures that the... Oh, Druid's Womb comes onto the Hafnis!
That is still an answer to the Hafnis, but Mudora is just not going to shuffle back the other stuff. But the most important thing here was the Hafnis, so Druid's Womb takes care of that. Really good for Vincenzo.
Adding back the Shiren to the hand instead of banishing the Rhino Heart. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Calbeck casually discarded to the graveyard, thinking that this is a normal hand interaction. No, Calbeck is just better.
Yep. And let's see what happens next. Does Joshua have the options to really go into stuff here? There's no Dark Monster in the graveyard of
that's
Vincenzo.
What I was thinking, but he has a battle phase. He can just attack over Hafnis and then go into Dark.
Yes, that's
this
what
is
he's
what
doing.
He's going for.
He is running over the Hafnis, also running over the Calbeck with his Hafnis himself, and now there is a Dark Monster in the graveyard.
Calbeck summoned in attack position.
And that means that we can... Oh, yeah, right. He could have not even summoned, ran over the Calbeck, interestingly enough. So, there is Dark being summoned. There is now Hafnis in the graveyard. Ooh.
Yeah, and he just said, I'm going to take Hafnis and go into the Sprite Sprint
Fair
because
enough,
Dark is a
enough.
link to. He is going to send a Merly to the grave.
Really, really good stuff here from Joshua. He can finally go into a fusion summon here in this game number 3. We haven't seen a single one so far in game number 3, but now the Merly will be resolving to actually give him access to his Kid Kalos.
And there is also a Rhino Heart already in the grave. Keep in mind, he only has used Hafnis so far, so he might be able to go into 2 more fusion summons. First of all, the Kid Colors, and
yes,
then actually might go for the Kaleido Heart. The only thing not really going well for him is that he has used his battle phase already.
what can you do? Sometimes a little bit of a downside, but still it looks like Joshua might very well be capable here to overcome this disadvantage of going second in game number 3. It is looking nice for Joshua. Also, he's 100 life points ahead already, so we're getting closer to time, of course. 6.5 minutes left, roughly.
This attack position Kalbeck was not it.
Not really, especially because Kalbeck just has more defense points than attack points.
And we are summoning back the Rhino Heart, milling, Kaldo, Rhino Heart, Kalbeck, and another Pearl Rhino. So no Shiren hit. We have already used the effect of Rhino Heart before.
But I mean, getting shufflers with the Kaldos certainly can't hurt. So that's definitely not the worst to happen for him here. Did he trigger Kalbeck? For a second I thought he triggered Kalbeck, but I don't think he's going to do that either.
So he has apparently used both effects, I think. So maybe it would have actually been better to immediately send a Shiren to the grave if he does not have anything to play on from this point on. To go for Kaleido Heart immediately and get rid of the Druid Swarm at least, because the Time Thief Redoer would only dodge.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want to target it. And now Mudora is going to shuffle back the Hafnis and the opponent's Mudora.
And he also has 2 cards in hand left, so there's actually quite something he can do. The only thing keeping him from popping off now is Sprite Sprint, but not being able to be linked away.
But he does just set 1 card afterwards, and I think that Joshua Schmidt might be done with his turn here, and yes, he's going to pass it over to Vincenzo Orofino, who now has a Druid Swarm on board, and he also has Time Thief Redoer, being able to just get another card, but he starts it all off with the Salik
immediately
here.
Activated, but now I'm thinking, why did he not immediately go for Kaleido Heart?
Discarding the Shiren, special summoning the Rhino Heart back, triggering itself and the Shiren, of course. We're still in draw phase, and therefore the Time Thief Redoer hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah. I mean, it plays around a Bastille, right? Plays around the top deck Bastille.
Yep, absolutely.
So we're going for Rule Colors, and we are going to send another card with Rhino Heart.
That is indeed true.
Wow, this is really intense. This is a Tearlaments name, of course. We can't really see which one it is. Might be Merly.
Looks like Merly a little bit, yeah. No, it's Hafnis, actually. It is Hafnis.
Oh, it is Hafnis. Okay. So, and we are taking the Rhino Heart from the field, and I think he will have to, if he wants to go for a Kaleido Heart, have to take... Oh, we are going for Kid Colors, and this one could actually also search for a Hafnis or something else. Now, we are milling, this time, the Merly, and Dragostapelia? No, we are going for the Kaleido Heart.
Yes,
now he found his way
are.
into Kaleido Heart, and this one is for sure going to get rid of the Druid Swarm, or trying to go for the Redo.
But, I mean, be aware that now that Rule Colors on board is the only interruption that he has left, because he already used the Salik, and he's now using the effect of Kaleido Heart. So if Vincenzo has found his way into something good here, he might be able to come back from here. He might be able to go for something. Also, isn't there just a Zeus line available to Vincenzo immediately? Because he could just run over the Sprite Sprint, and then Zeus could be something.
And now we are attaching the Shiren, which would usually be bad. However, he does not have to detach the Shiren for effect.
The thing with Zeus, though, is that, yeah, he is running over the Sprite Sprint, but with Zeus, the thing is, you don't really want to send the Kid Colors.
Rule Colors and Kaleido Heart and the Salik. So all of these cards, sending all of these cards would be bad.
Indeed. But still, he is going for the Zeus, and I think it is his only play, detaching both of his cards to then wipe the board entirely, triggering the Rule Colors, the Kaleido Heart and the Salik. So Joshua just getting all the pluses, all the searches, all the summon backs here, and it's backing. It looks good for Joshua. It looks good.
Absolutely.
He's down on life points, so he has to hurry, but he's definitely not too bad here in card advantage.
So basically the only thing he did was getting rid of this Salik that was already used this turn and giving Joshua another card in hand. I don't know if Zeus did the job here, but what else could he have done?
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot he could do. I mean, he at least has a 3k defense body now.
Oh, and he activates triple tactic talents. That makes a lot of sense.
To a strong
and he's drawing Pearl Rhino.
He can keep on playing here. And there's only 2 minutes left on the clock, so he could keep on playing here for a while, to be honest. Let's see what Vincenzo can still do here. Joshua shaking his head. He at some point had to use a monster effect in the main phase.
Merly milling so good. He hits the Caldo, but there are still 2 interruptions in Joshua's graveyard, being Caldo and Mudora.
Yep, but looks like we are just going to resolve the effects for Vincenzo first of all. That is the Scream resolving, searching out the Salik. Now Caldo is preemptively going to attack the shufflers of Joshua Schmidt here. There you see it, Mudora and Caldo grabbing the graveyard. What else is there to shuffle back?
This is going to be quick. Caldo and Mudora are maybe going to be chained.
Also the Crime. That triple tactic talents. Now I fully understand the Zeus, because that triggered the monster effects of Joshua, and so he could actually use the talents. Marvelously played by Vincenzo, and he's ahead of life points. This is going to be really tight. There comes the Pearl Rhino. What? The crowd is going wild. They love it, what Vincenzo is pulling off here.
Because now he can actually search for the Havness, and I think at this point he could just... Does he just pass here? What else does he have in hand? No, he goes for a Link 2 at this point. He can just take away the Zeus and the Merly. He can go into Sprite Sprint immediately and send a Merly from the deck to the graveyard. Then he can actually Fusion Summon. And both of these monsters have used their Resummon effect already. He will have to negate the Merly with the Roll Coloss.
Yes, that's what is happening. He uses Roll Colors on the Merly. Vincenzo chains his Havness in hand, so... That is still going to mill free. He mills a talent.
Is he hitting anything? No, he's hitting the Caldo.
Just a Caldo.
He is passing. There are 10 seconds on the clock, 15 in fact. Now, does he have to pass the turn onto this? Because then the Kaleido Heart can actually attack over the Sprite Sprint.
It's going to be very tight here. He's passing it over. It's Joshua's turn.
Are we going to the battle phase? Are we announcing battle phase? I think he announced the battle phase.
That is
the
going to be...
players are discussing. Joshua is not happy about this.
This is going to be really, really tight. It will all depend on whether we are already in the battle phase or not. And it doesn't look like by the phase of Joshua Schmidt that this is going to be battle phase already. So I think we're going to have to talk about this for a little bit. So maybe for a second we should just come back to us, because it's not really going to help watching the players and the judges there. And we will just keep talking a little bit about what is going on there right now.
This is an intense situation, because it looks like there is a Salik set. We have the Havness in defense position.
Yes.
However, there is a Sprite Sprint in attack position. So if we are saying that Joshua can enter the battle phase, what's going to happen here? Salik will be activated onto the Roll Coloss, can possibly be activated onto the Roll Coloss. Havness will be tributed, okay? So Havness will try to activate the effect. Roll Coloss cannot negate that, because it is negated. And we are shuffling back some cards, summoning monster in defense position, and Pearl Rhino can pop the sprint, so he cannot take damage. So this might actually...
There is a line for him to protect himself, I was thinking, does he have any way to get rid of his own sprint? But you described it perfectly. There is actually a line to protect himself from damage, so I don't really see, when we're not in battle phase, how this is turning out to be a loss for Vincenzo or Affinity.
Even if we go into the battle phase, I think he can summon out fusion monsters in defense position by negating the Roll Coloss and popping his own sprint.
Absolutely. But it really is coming down to the final stages here. Nobody wants to go out, of course, in top 4, especially not Joshua Schmidt, who's on a back-to-back mission here in this tournament. So he really is fighting until the last moment here, of course.
And I can understand that I would ask the judges too, like, can I have this? I'm trying to say battle phase. These situations are sometimes hard.
And of course, to the viewers at home that maybe have never attended such a big tournament, there's always a judge being at the table here in our featured match area. So there's instantly somebody that would be responsible for the situation and that has seen the whole situation. And of course, multiple thousands of people at home have also watched the situations, but the judge is responsible in their situation there specifically. And
those decisions are quite hard to make. I mean, it is a daily job for a judge to decide these hard decisions in these timeout situations. And I mean, at the end of the day, it is the judge's decision. Maybe a head judge will be called.
That's what I was about to say. You always, as a player, if you get the answer from a judge, from a regular judge call, have the option to also appeal to a head judge.
Very important.
And
keep that in mind.
I'm pretty sure
guys.
that is just happening right now. That's why we have to take a little bit of time here. The head judge is also going to have a look at the situation. I mean, we are in the final stages of the tournament. So we got to make important decisions right here. So we should get the head judges over.
Absolutely.
Because they are the ones that are running the tournament. They are the real important judges. I mean, every single judge in the hall is important, of course, but
Absolutely.
they are the ones having the final word for every decision that is causing debates, of course.
Also, the judges have had long days. It is a hard work. You have to be on point with your mind all the time. So if you ever meet a judge at a tournament, be respectful, guys.
Yeah.
Even though you don't like the decisions sometimes, those decisions are hard to make for everyone.
For real, shout-outs to the judge community
Absolutely.
for running the biggest YCS we ever had in Europe. I mean, you need a lot of judges, and sometimes they even had to work extra this weekend because we had so many people. They had to run extra kilometers all weekend long. So definitely appreciate the hard work of the judges. I mean, we ourselves actually came from the judging community before we joined the commentary booth.
That is true.
We know how that job feels. We know that from time to time it can be quite stressful, but it's really a fun job as well, for sure. So at home, if you maybe want to get into judging, definitely don't be afraid. Definitely apply.
It's a really good idea. But let's go into the analysis of this game.
Sure, let's
a bit
go.
more. So Joshua has had a draw for turn.
Yep.
Imagine you drew a bestial.
That would
really change the entire situation of this battle phase scenario, because if this was a bestial that he drew and he is playing multiple copies,
right?
There's no fusion summon, there's nothing to be popped. I mean, of course there are Caldo.
That's what I was thinking.
There's also Caldo and Mudora in his GY. So I mean, this is a main phase scenario. You have to think about the main phase, right? Because you can actually go for Caldo and Mudora before the main phase of before the battle phase of Joshua, if you are Vincenzo, and then you would want to target both of these monsters before your opponent goes into the battle phase, and then try to send the Havness. So this is a difficult scenario.
It is a really, really difficult one, and I'm really happy that I'm not the head judge. And I think every single player in the hall can be happy that I wasn't the head judge for this event, to be honest.
That is absolutely true.
I think I'm situated quite well here in the casting booth.
Yeah.
And
I think you are, Basti.
Thank you very much, my friend. So we still have a little bit of time. And I think because I can already tell you they are going to have a little bit deeper analysis about the situation in the back with the judges in particular. So head judge and the judges at the table are talking a little bit further about it. So I think it would be a pretty neat idea to actually go on a little break. Or what do you think, maybe?
I think that this is quite a good idea, Basti.
Yeah, I think we're going to go on to a short break, and as soon as we have news regarding all of that, we will be coming back with the live action. So just give us a couple of minutes, and then when action is resuming and when we have a decision to announce, you will hear from us. Again, the appeal is over, so we have a decision and we can fully explain you the situation again. You know what the discussion was about. Was Joshua Schmidt able to enter his battle phase? Because he basically just drew for turn and then wanted to go into the battle phase as quickly as possible, but there were some actions that Vincenzo could perform, so the actual appeal decision was.
There were only 2 seconds on the clock when Joshua drew his card, so Vincenzo was allowed to make a play and Joshua will not enter the battle phase, so the game ends in the draw or the standby phase. I don't really know which one it is, but Vincenzo Orofino enters the finale of the YCS Dortmund 2022.
Vincenzo Orofino plays for Italy in the finals. Very good run again by Joshua Schmidt, ending up here in top 4. I mean, this guy, he was in top 8 in Antwerpen. He was in Utrecht, of course, our winner.
The winner,
and now he's in top 4. He's crossing all the stages, you know? Finals, top 4, top 8. He really is doing it all.
What's he gonna do next? Top 16?
Wow, that would be so fantastic for him, I would say, yeah. But that is the decision. So Vincenzo Orofino, definitely deserved winner and definitely one of the deserved finalists for this. I'm really hyped to see who he's going to face, because it's either going to be versus his Italian friend in a match versus Florian de Ries, or he's going to play a Rico's back and his Ishizu Tearlaments strategy for a mirror match.
Yeah, we don't know that yet.
That is absolutely true.
We have seen both players wander around the venue here, and both of them looked really happy. I mean it is a big accomplishment to get top 4 on a YCS, so I wouldn't be too sad if I lost that one as well,
Absolutely.
even though you want to win, but we have no idea who won.
That is indeed true. Yeah, but I think we can say some last words for ourselves, because those will be our last moments in the casting booth. It was a long weekend.
In YCS Dortmund.
Yep, it was a long weekend for us. But at the end of the day, and this is the end of our working day, we are still just 2 guys that love Yu-Gi-Oh! And we enjoyed every single second of it. We were really having the time of our life once again. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for...
It was a pleasure, as always, my friend.
Thank you for being with me. And it really, really was such a fun time once more. And I cannot wait to sit down in the viewers area to just watch the final as a spectator, to be honest.
Actually, we should get us some seats saved, because they are free right now. So we are going to a little break, give the players some time to breathe through, and you will see the finals soon.